confirm you can see my screen. Please, can you hear me? Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can hear you.
All right. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for your response. Thank you. Okay, so welcome once again to class today. So today promises to be very, very informative, and I believe you will get value for your time. Just a quick announcement before we go further. Your updated timetable for your test, which is coming up next week, has been posted today on the platform. Please go through your timetable so you will avoid unnecessary questions. But if you have questions, we are open to receiving them on our WhatsApp, right? Thank you so much. Fill up the attendance form as you join. Titi, please help me share the attendance form link in the chat room. Please do well to fill up the attendance as you join the class. Okay, so today we'll be talking about AI in finance. AI in finance. And the person who will be taking us in today's class is none other than Elizabeth Amankwa. Um, Elizabeth is a seasoned cybersecurity professional, speaker, trainer, and mentor. She's a management systems auditor at A4A's and the events and programs lead for YC's West Africa affiliate. She specializes in management systems auditing, incident management, compliance monitoring, cybersecurity, risk management, data privacy, and AI governance. Elizabeth is on a mission to bringing engaging and tailored cybersecurity awareness to all and sundry. Her passion extends to shaping the cybersecurity industry by mentoring the next generation of women cybersecurity enthusiasts from diverse backgrounds to take on key roles in the industry and eventually reduce the gender gap. Ladies and gentlemen, with a sounding clap ovation in the chat room, let's make welcome our trainer for today in the person of Elizabeth Amankwa. Elizabeth, please, you can take it up from here. Welcome to class.
Okay, thank you so much, Mercy, for that. Thank you all, and I welcome all of you to class. So, I believe this we have like 2 hours, right? So I believe we'll make this session very, very interactive, okay? So that by the time the 2 hours ends, we would have really participated. So I'll ask that you indulge me and participate as much as possible so that we make this class very, very lively. Okay. So before we go in, this class is about AI in finance and legal. So I would like to know how many of us are in the finance industry and how many of us are in the legal industry. So I'll put up a short poll so that we answer. Oh. So how many of us, okay, you can show by hands. You can show by hands how many of us are in the finance industry. Please show by hand if you are in finance. So we have please HP, can you rename if it's possible so that I don't call you HP? Can you rename? I
Sorry,
know you
this
can.
is Isaac Ansari. So the
Isaac
HP,
Asai.
it's a program machine, so it's difficult to really change the name.
No, on Zoom, you can change it. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
If you are not okay, but I'll bear in mind that it's Isaac. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we have Isaac from finance. Who else is from finance? Who else is from finance? Okay, only Isaac. What about legal? Where are my legal people? Where are my legal people?
They'll be joining us in the course of the class. I believe so.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. But we have others on the call. We have John, we have Rick, we have Coyote. I would like to hear from you guys as well. Which industry are you from? Okay, engineering, IT. Okay, Coyote is in IT, John is in engineering. Okay, engineering, is it like civil engineering or something? Any specifics? So that we talk a lot in context, because even though it's finance and legal, I believe we would know how to talk in context. Mm. Okay. Okay, that's fine. So I'll just use a minute to share my screen. So at least I have a fair idea of where we are, right? But just a quick question before we continue. So how many of us are already using tools like ChatGPT or Claude for our work? So I would like to hear from each of us. If we are using, what are we using it for in our work when it comes to our work? If we are using any of the AI tools, the common ones are ChatGPT and now Claude is also um, really far advanced in taking the lead in the AI space. So yes, I can. Rick said yes. So if yes, what are you using AI for? Process model. That's good. Who else? Let's hear from you. We've heard from Rick, John, Isaac, Kayode. Let's hear from you. Let's hear from you as well. If you are using any AI tools, what specifically are you using it for? What specifically are you using it for? What specifically are you using it for? Let's go to the chat room. Okay. I believe my screen is visible. Let me go to full screen. I believe my screen is visible. Please, is my screen visible? Just
Yeah, it's
let's.
visible, but you can put it on projection.
Yes, I'm going to put it on full screen. Eh, I don't know why this is. Mm.
Okay, you can come to this place where you have your speaker. You see like a book open. That's where it is.
I don't know why the.
No, I mean where you have your screen is at 49%. There is a place where it's like a book, an
Oh, okay,
icon that
I get
says,
it.
yeah, 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 yeah.
No, I'm trying to go full screen so that everybody would see. Okay, I think it was because this icon was.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's full
I've gone
screen
full
now.
screen now. Yes, that's what I was trying to do so that everybody can see. Okay, okay, that's fine. So we are talking about AI in finance and legal. So those of us who have put in the chat room. So I've only heard from work process model. That's fine. Please, John, Isaac. Let's hear from you. What do you use ChatGPT for when it comes to your work? I know by now most of us use ChatGPT one way or the other, but so far, what have you been using in what terms have you been using ChatGPT or Claude or any AI tools? Okay, so we'll move on. So I believe most of us use most of these AI tools in our daily work. Now it has become like second nature to us. It's like Google, right? Okay, so Isaac is saying to calculate financial instruments and make decisions. Wow, make decisions. Wow, that's bold. But it's good anyway. I believe by the end of this, we'll see where we are and what can be done, especially in the AI space. So that's great. Thank you for the feedback. So in finance, AI has played a major role in in finance. So I remember gone are the days before you go, and the main place to get a loan is the bank, right? And in Africa, especially, we have a lot of people in the informal sector. We have traders, we have farmers, and all of that. And before you go for a loan, it's a whole wahala. Okay, it's it's a lot of requirements, and most often than not, you may not even get it. But I mean, in recent times, there are a lot of things that have been done, right, to be able to bridge that gap. And AI in finance has helped with what we call credit scoring. I'll explain in detail in subsequent slides. So credit scoring. So now AI can assess loan risk, use certain alternative data like mobile usage transaction history. Now, most of the people, like let's say a trader in the market, okay, she uses mobile money and she receives her money, the woman receives the money on Momo. And because we are able to see her transaction history with the people sending her money, the money she spends and everything. We see some kind of activity on there, and we use that. We use that to create a profile for her. And so when she wants a loan, they can use that to say, okay, based on this, we are giving you X amount of money. Okay. And when it comes to fraud detection too, it has really played a major role in fraud detection. Real-time detection, right? And also for robo advice, automated investment recommendation based on your profile, right? They look at your profile and say, okay, you do this kind of investment because that's what will fit you. So I remember there was an instance where it was my own dad, right? He's a pensioner. He wanted to invest. I mean, he feels like, oh, I've received my pension money. I want to invest and everything. And so, oh, which I want to go and buy this government bond. I was like, as a pensioner, you may not be as risk loving as someone who is young and still in the industry. So rather go for the treasury bills because those are safer. Okay, so with AI, okay, someone like my dad wouldn't have to come and ask me, okay, he would just fill in his profile and he'll say, okay, you're a pensioner. Okay, so then because you're a pensioner, you may not be as risk loving, so we would rather put you on what treasury bill or put you on this. But if as a young person as me that I have a lot of years ahead of me to work, I may go in for more risky investments. And that's what Fair Money in Nigeria and Carbon have been able to do to help serve a lot of people, okay, especially those in in the informal sector, to serve a lot of people in the informal sector. Okay. So let's please, as my slide moved, I want to make sure my slide is also moving. Please, do you see what is AI in legal? Do we see what is AI in legal? Please give me a thumbs up if you see AI in legal. Give me a thumbs up. Isaac, Kayode, Rick, please give me a thumbs up. Is my slide moving? Mercy, please give me a thumbs up. I want to make sure my slides
Yes, it's
are
moving.
moving.
Yes, you are
Yes.
on AI in legal. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so we've looked at finance, okay, and Definitely AI has played some role in what? In the legal field. Okay. And in most cases, a lot on contract review, okay. Most legal people will have so many pages of contracts to review, and AI is helping to what? Review all these contracts and flag any risky clauses or any inconsistency in what? In seconds, okay. And also when it comes to legal research, all right, when you have a case, you want to be able to compare people similar cases and maybe within country or within other jurisdiction, so that it will help you what? Get somewhat solid ground. And then also compliance monitoring to be able to track these regulatory changes and all of that, because now we work in different what terrains. You want to be able to make sure that you are meeting all the compliance what needs, because I know recently in Nigeria, CBN is coming up with new AML rules, which will be released soon, and also there are other laws that are being what reviewed, okay, with what regulations that cover what AI what as well. So all these are things that are being done within the sector. Okay. So that's it with the legals. And now a lot of I'll say startups, especially most startups don't have a lot of money. So one of my brothers, for instance, he decided to start up a company and everything. And before you start up a company, you need some legal documents, and they may not hire startup, may not have money to pay like a lawyer to do all of that. And now AI is able to draft like regulations, like company regulations, okay, which you would have paid a lot of money to be able to what to do that. Okay, so these are some of the things that AI is helping to do in what? In the legal space. Okay. So why is AI transforming what? Finance? First of all, fraud prevention at what? At scale, because fraud is usually about being able to what? Pick the patterns. That's it. And sometimes systems are not easily able to what? To do that. So being able to easily what? Track that, okay, now people know that there are thresholds, okay, in certain jurisdiction when you're sending money and all of that, transferring all of that. So maybe they can sell it in smaller amount that become what? Undetectable. But the AI is able to do that. No, look at the track it, okay, and helps to prevent fraud what? At scale before it happens. The financial inclusion too is how AI is transforming what? The finance sector. Then operational efficiency, that's also another area. Operational what? Efficiency. AI being able to do things what? At scale. Okay. So my question would be, if you are to, how much faster could you dispense loans if AI handled 100% of the credit scoring? So if AI, let me put that in the chat. What's our opinion? How much faster could you dispense loans? So this is more for the finance people. How much faster could, and even if you are not a finance person, definitely maybe you have accessed one loan or what or the other. So just try to use that as a benchmark. So how much faster could you disperse loans if AI handled the credit scoring? So any views? Any views on that? So now that we say AI will do at first, before you have to fill a long list of forms. They will ask you so many questions. They'll ask you where you work, your salary, and all of that, all just to create some kind of profile around before they give you what? A loan. So how much faster do you think it will be if now AI is handling that? Anyone for us? Coyote, can you help us? Okay, wow. I love Dr. Is it Dr. Lovedays? I'm picking the names from there. So less than 50 milliseconds. Wow, I love that. So very fast, very fast, very fast, very fast. So you can see how what AI is what transforming what operational what efficiency in that light. Okay. Then when it comes to the legal services, so I have so when it comes to the legal services too, AI is transforming what the legal what, even though I'll say lawyers are a bit I know people say lawyers are a bit set in their set in their ways, okay. Most of them still do a lot of manual things, okay. So the legal space is a space where, I mean, to be able to change things there is not easy because um even moving them to, let's say, use tools for their daily work is a whole thing altogether because they are always thinking about the implications in terms of what the laws and everything, because these are the people who are supposed to be showing us what the laws and everything. So when it comes to legal services, AI is transforming that. So speed and accuracy, yes, like we talked about contract review. If you have a 50-page contract to review, you can do that in what? In just in milliseconds, right? Like someone said, instead of before that spending all that long time to read. Okay. I remember I was saying that nowadays students in university they are really like you because my time we didn't have this read aloud to read documents. You have to read everything, right? Sit down, you like actually sit down and read. But now you have read aloud, you have AI to do all this for you. So what is preventing you from reading now? Okay. So that's speed and accuracy. Then when it comes to regulatory what compliance, regulatory compliance to it is helping because the the there are various regulators like CBN, NDPR, CAC, they all have requirements. And sometimes their documents are so long, okay? And you can use AI to extract the requirements, right? Per your what? Per what industry you fall in. So you can use AI to extract, okay, I'm in this industry, I operate with this, and these are new what regulations that maybe CBN has come up with. What are the things expected of me as an organization to comply with? And to give everything, then you just pull everything out. Then now you can use it as your action plan to be able to what? Track them. Okay. So it will help you to summarize it, know the requirements and know what you are expected to do to meet those what requirements and flag any compliance gap if and it's done automatically. If maybe you are already doing certain things that is not meeting it, you'll be able to flag it. Okay. Then cost reduction. So, gone are the days you need like a big team of paralegals, a big team of legal people to do all this document review because the legal industry is a lot of what documentation, right? And lots of research. And it will cut costs in terms of having to employ more of these what people to do all of that. So it is what transforming it is transforming what the legal space as well. Okay. So let's look at some of the key benefits. Let's look at the numbers, right? So cost reduction about 40% if you look, especially for financial institutions deploying AI automation. When it comes to processing, very faster. Loan approvals, contract reviews. Now a lot of loans can be approved in a matter of a few hours instead of at first that it would take so long. Okay, it would say so now 3 times faster in processing, right? Contract reviews, loan approvals. Okay, when it comes to fraud detection, right? 60%. So with AI, you see the numbers here. Then let's look at the global market, right? Estimated value of AI financial services. That's by 2025, that was last year's $1.2 trillion. That's a lot of money, right? So even though these are global, right? But looking at the Nigerian market, we can just use that to also benchmark how that will play out what in our own what in our own markets as Nigerians. So definitely the numbers, the benefits are what are huge. The benefits are huge. Then when it comes to the workflow in what the finance and legal industry, the process, right? So AI processing, the workflow is more of AI processing, right? Insight generations also very so beyond the processing, giving you certain what insight that okay, the reason why we are seeing these numbers is because of what this is the situation and that's why this is happening. So it's trying to situate everything that is what happening, right? So producing risk scores, flagging causes and alerts and everything. And that gives you a lot of what insight in that you may not easily pick up, right? With what without what AI. Then in terms of data collection too, right? Being able to aggregate transactions, documents, and client records take large volumes of what of data, large volumes of data. Then yes, human decision. One of us said we used to also make certain what decision because AI can give you maybe not a final decision, right? But I mean, AI can give you the options that okay, when you go this route, this is what is likely to what to happen. When I go this route, this, especially with our what with our lawyers, especially because you want to know that okay, if I argue my case in this way, it's going to end. It may end this way. If I argue it this way, it may end what that way end. That's what is helping with the processes. AI is helping with the workflow with the processes. All right. Okay. Now let's look at AI in the Nigerian what context. Let's look at AI in the what in the Nigerian context. So in terms of banking, fintech, and what and law, what is being done? So these are some examples by GT Bank, Access Bank, Zen Bank. I bet other banks have similar things that what they are doing. So when it comes to what AI credit scoring, like I said, chatbots, fraud monitoring, and everything, because sometimes some customers may need some quick answers, right? And this can be filled into this chatbot. You just go in there and what ask quick answers, okay? Ask questions that they'll give you like quick answers to. Okay, maybe I want to do this transaction. Maybe what kind of documents do I need to present? Then at least you go prepared instead of maybe going to the bank and there'll be a lot of what back and forth. So AI is helping in that sense. And it's doing that to millions of customers daily. Millions of customers daily. Then in fintech too as well, right? Fintech as well. Helping for what? For payments, lending, and risk management at what? At scale. Okay. And when it comes to law firms too, certain law firms are adopting AI for contract management, CAC compliance, and legal research, and it's growing. Okay, it's growing within what the Nigerian context. It's growing within the Nigerian context. Okay. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. So now let's look at AI in what? Financial analysis. We are doing now a deep dive into the finance aspect when it comes to what? AI. We are doing like a deep dive into the context of finance. So financial analysis, what is it? So AI automates the extraction, aggregation, interpretation of financial data, turning raw numbers into actionable what? Intelligence. Okay, so we have this machine learning model that can analyze this financial statement, detect patterns, and generate faster forecasts than what? Than the manual review. Okay. So you can do side by side. Okay, maybe your profit and loss account or your statement or your revenue and expenses. Okay, you can do maybe 2025 versus 2024. What is the trend? So you do a lot of this financial what analysis with that. Okay. And a typical example is Access Bank and GT Bank using AI-driven analytics for portfolio monitoring and regulatory reporting. So portfolio monitoring. So let's say I have signed up onto, let's say, education policy, right? And so that's a portfolio that I have. Okay. So they're able to use AI to monitor that my portfolio. So my portfolio could be different what policies that what I have subscribed to. Okay, and regulatory reporting to regulators on the various what policies people have what subscribed to. Okay, and how does this really? Why does it matter? It helps to reduce what analyst hours. Okay, so the hours you sit down on the report trying to look at the patterns, predict certain red flags or irregularities. Okay, you cut all of that and it accelerates the decision making for revenue optimization. Easily, you are able to what take certain what decisions easily because now you have all the information what at hand, all the information at hand. So I have a quick question for us in the chat that I know with the recent CBN NCC joint framework requirements requiring that automatic 30 seconds refunds for failed transactions. Do you think AI is the solution to meeting these timelines or is a risk to system stability? I'll put that in the chat. I don't know, for some reason, the polls, I was trying to use the polls, but I'm not able to use the polls. So I'll put that in the chat. I'll put that in the chat. I'll put that in the chat. I'll put that in the chat so that we trying to do some polls so that we can see it, but I'm unable to. So we have a question for us. Let's all go to the chat room. There's a question for us. Let's go to the chat room. That with the recent CBN NCC joint framework requiring automatic 30-second refunds for failed transactions. So if I'm making a transaction and it fails, within 30 seconds, the money should hit my account. You know, sometimes you'll be sending money, you make a mistake or something, and it takes so long, right, to get it back. And now new regulations is saying within 30 seconds, if I'm doing these online transactions, it should what the money should what hit my account within 30 seconds. Do we think AI is the solution to meeting these timelines, or rather it will pose a risk? So which? Is AI the solution or it will pose a risk? I want to hear from us. I want to hear from Dorcas. I want to hear from Isaac, from Kayode. There's John, there's Rick, there's Olajide. I would like to hear from you. What do we think? What do we think that we can only meet this with AI, right? We can only meet this regulation with AI. Or you think it's too much of a stretch? There's so much risk with AI, so why do we want to use it in this to help meet this regulation? Please go to the chat room now. Please go to the chat room now. Go to the chat room now. I want to hear from this Lavita group. I don't know who that is. So let's hear from you. Lavita group. I don't know who that is, but let's hear from you. That's the name here. Let's hear from you. Let's hear from you. Let me see you typing. I mean, if anyone also wants to unmute and speak, I think they can also do that. If you also rather want to unmute and speak, you can also do that. It's fine. that
Yes,
the rest of us.
I think AI brings stability to the system, to the banking system, in terms of failed bank refunds. Typically, before the adoption of AI, most banks, it can take them 1 week, 2 weeks before they refund customers failed transactions.
Okay.
Later, they made it within 24 hours, one a week. But with the NCC and CBN joint framework on AI policy for failed transactions, returning the funds within 30 seconds, it works better for both the bank and the customer itself,
Hmm.
and even help with fraud prevention.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. So yes, I believe AI. So me, I believe AI is because 30 seconds, like you said, first it could be those days, right? It could be a week, it could be 2 weeks, right? Your money is just stuck there. Okay. Then now things became better, it became 24 hours and everything. But in order to hit that 30-second mark, we definitely need AI. Okay, so Kayode, so thank you, Doc, for that. So Kayode is also saying maybe a solution, and with everything comes with some risk. The risk should be weighed side by side with the solution it will provide. So I love that. I love that take too. So I mean, they said as you are thinking good, you should also think what bad, right? In a African proverb balance, right? So I mean, we know that it will help us. Yes, it will help us meet this deadline because 30 seconds, right, is fast. It's fast. Okay. So, so yes, it will help us, but also there are some risk to system stuff. So yes, we should weigh the two, then see what will help. But I mean, will we? So just a follow-up question to Coyote. So we've looked at the risk. Okay, will we rather? So let's say this 30-second refund thing. Okay, is a regulation and it comes with fines. And if you are not able to meet it, definitely maybe CBN will come and fine you or something. So would you rather say, um, I would not use AI to meet it and maybe not being able to meet the regulation and be fined? So which is which? Would you rather not use AI because it becomes some risk and not meeting what the regulatory what compliance and also being what fined in the end. So which one will you choose? I say two evils. Which one will you choose? So Kaide, you can type in the chat. You can also unmute yourself, or any other person can unmute yourselves and also contribute. You can unmute yourselves and contribute.
All right. I think every organization has risk tolerance level. So if your risk, if your tolerance level can take it, fine. You go ahead with the AI solution. But if you think that your risk level cannot take it, just go ahead with the fine. And if you can
Mm.
accommodate the fine, all well and good. So it's a matter of the company's policy, whichever one they think is suitable for
Yeah.
them. So that's
Mm.
just it.
Okay, okay, yeah, that's good. So yes, it still depends on what the organization, but these are options for us to choose per the organization. Okay, thank you for that. So we will move on. So that's it for AI in what financial what analysis. So now let's look at fraud detection, AI in fraud detection. What is it and how does it work? So the system will monitor the transactions in real time as it's being what done, then flagging suspicious activity before the losses what even what okay, okay. And how does it work? It uses a lot of behavioral analytics. Okay, it looks at you as a person. Okay, and even the type of account that you hold. Is it a savings account? Is it a checking account? I know now sometimes they have like hybrid accounts for like businesses, like people who are entrepreneurs, like entrepreneurs, okay. And they know that, okay, maybe you receive money at this particular time, or you spend money on this, that at this particular time, okay. And they're able to monitor your behavior in terms of your spending pattern. Then they do a lot of pattern recognition and use these neural networks that will detect deviations from the normal user behavior instantly. So maybe you make some transaction that is a one-off, then they flag it. Maybe it may not be an issue because in as much as we all have patterns of spending and receiving money and all of that, they may always be what one-offs. Okay, but they look at this one off and say, no, this one, pair your patterns, this one of maybe too much of what of a stretch. And down they use that word to flag that transactions. Okay, because I know NFIU also want you to come up with the suspicious transactions that you have flagged within a particular what time frame. You need to report on all of these. Okay. So it will also help you to, even as you are doing the fraud detection, you are meeting NFIU's word requirements. Okay. So Flutterwave and Paystack have been able to deploy AI fraud engines to monitor transactions across Nigeria what daily. And fraud, I mean, it happens everywhere in the world, okay? But sometimes there are certain, I'll say, terrains that help it to what fester what the more. And I mean, last year when Nigeria was removed from the gray list, I was very happy because I felt, oh wow, a lot of things are being done. Okay, in the industry to what really curb certain things. And being out of the gray list also means a lot of responsibility on the part of regulators, because I realized that regulators have been very, very what they've been very, very strict. They're very like on their toes. They are always checking out, okay? And that has resulted in what helping to remove Nigeria from the gray list. But now being out of the gray list doesn't mean it doesn't stop there. That means now the regulators will come up what harder because they wouldn't want to go back. Okay, because going back on the gray list has its what repercussions. Okay, so they want to always put things in place to be able to what curb what fraud as much as possible. And why does it matter? Because fraud costs Nigerian banks over what 30 billion annually. And AI can reduce false positive by 50% and cut losses what significantly. Okay. So what do we think? I know Nigeria has lost a lot to fraud in recent years. So in your opinion, is AI better at detecting fraud, or bad actors using AI will be better at committing it? So I mean there's, I'll say, two sides to the coin. There's two sides to the coin. Do you think with AI, because AI, even though the tool is there, but how you use it, right? How you use it is what different. So, in as much as we are here saying that, oh, we are going to use AI to what? To catch the bad guys. Okay. These bad guys too, in their heads, they're also saying, you know what, we too, we are going to use AI to what? To cover our tracks. To make things what? More difficult for them to what? To detect us. So sometimes it's a whole thing all together. It's a whole thing all together. But what are our thoughts? What are our thoughts? So I've put it in the chat room. So Nigerians have lost billions to fraud in recent years. In your opinion, is AI better at detecting fraud, or are bad actors using AI better at committing it? So which is which? Do you think as we are also getting smarter in detection, they are also getting good at what? Hiding themselves. They are also using the same tools to also what? Hide their tracks. What's the skill? So where are we at? Is it 50-50, or we are ahead of them, right? Which is what do you think by observing what the industry? By observing the industry, what do you think? I want to hear from us. So you can go to the chat room. You can also unmute yourself and speak. You can also unmute yourself and speak. What do we think in terms of fraud detection? In terms of fraud detection, so
Really, I think it might be a 50-50 thing, because the reality is that it is people who write the AI programs. There's also people who write the fraudulent programs. So Which
Mhm.
while the people with good intention will writing programs to enhance productivity and make things easier, those with bad intention will also be looking for loopholes. So it's a 50-50 thing. It all depends on who is able to um, to up their games before the other.
Mhm.
But the thing is,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, the other might eventually catch up with the other. So it's a 50-50 thing. That's just the way I see
Yeah.
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
wow, kind of things now is a level playing field. Let's hear from others. Olajide, let's hear from you. You can type in the chat or mute yourself and speak. What do you think in terms of we using AI to detect fraud and the bad guys, the fraudulent people also using AI to also advance their course? What do you think? So let's hear from you, Olajide. Let's hear from you, John. Let's hear from you, Isaac. Let's hear from you, Dorcas. Let's hear from you. Let's hear from you. You can unmute yourself and speak or type in the chat. We want to see where you think we are at in terms of that. Okay, we'll do that in the next 2 minutes so we can move on. We'll look at this in the next 2 minutes so that we can move on. Look at this in the next 2 minutes. So, Olajide, let's hear from you. I hope I'm pronouncing it well. I'm pronouncing the names well. Just alert me if I'm butchering your name. Just alert me. Yeah. So that I become better. But I think now it's better. I'm getting better at pronouncing Nigerian names. Yeah. So okay, so who is going? Isaac. Okay, Isaac, what do you think? Isaac, what do you think? Isaac, what do you think? Isaac, what do you think?
Sorry, still processing, no better answer for now.
Pardon?
I'm still processing what you are asking for.
Okay, so I was saying that, right? We are using AI to detect what fraud, okay? At the same time, do you think that we using AI to detect fraud? Okay, we are doing it, we are getting better. AI is better at detecting fraud. Or the bad actors too. They are also using AI to make what their activities what better, to also enhance their activities, their fraudulent activities. So what do you think the percentage is in terms
Oh,
of so the good guys versus the bad guys? What do you think is the percentage? That's what we are asking.
oh, okay. So to be on the spot to answer this question, I think every person on the AI tries to use it to better him or her activity. So as
Mhm.
the good guys are trying to detect those fraudulent acts, the fraudulent act people are also trying hard to protect themselves by decoding or putting things in place, systems in place to make it hard for them to detect their actions. So in a better percentage, being subject, I think it's 50-50. Everybody is trying hard to make to use AI in a way to ensure that um, their work in terms of efficiency or in terms of detecting the fraudulent act is at best, or protecting themselves is at best. Thank you.
Okay, so we have two people for 50-50 saying that it's a level playing ground. It's 50-50. Okay, thank you very much, Isaac. So we have John. John is saying, I think the bad ones are more faster than the good ones. In maximizing the bad part of AI. While the good ones are slow, but with time, they are effective, useful, and will overcome the bad one. So I like that. So John is also saying no, it's not 50-50. I think the bad guys are ahead of us. Maybe it's 60-40 or it's 70-30. But hopefully it's not 80-20 because like that would be really bad. Or 90-10. That would be really bad. Okay. So he is also of the view that based on his experience and observation, he feels like no, the bad guys are getting ahead. They are getting ahead, and we are kind of just trying to chase up with them because they are using different tactics with this same AI, right? And the same AI tools, and that's it. And personally, I also believe the bad guys are ahead because, in as much as we are using AI for detection and everything, I feel like they are constantly looking for what is a daily thing for them, right? They don't rest, but we it's like we are a bit what slow to catch up. So that's my observation as well. Thank you all for sharing your opinions. We'll move right on. We'll move right on. Okay, now let's look at AI in credit what scoring. AI in credit scoring. So I've talked quite extensively about what credit scoring and even how it works and everything. Um, so credit scoring, I personally don't have an experience with. So even though there's an example here, Carbon, formerly pay later and fair money are using AI credit scoring to serve customers with no formal credit history. So I may not have, I'll say, personal experience with credit scoring in Nigeria, but in Ghana, I know a fintech called Haptel that are really doing massively in this credit scoring what area. And they've been able to, because they are fintech, right? And they onboard a lot of uh these petty traders, like people doing date selling data, people uh doing this food joints and everything, and they receive their money through their platforms and all of that. You know, these people, these are the normal everyday people that we have. Those people, when they go to the bank will never give them any loan, right? So instead of them being left out because they use their platform to receive money, to spend their money and all of that, they are able to use that usage, okay? Because the same platform, they are receiving money, right? They are making certain payment. They are paying for electricity, they are paying for water, they are paying for airtime, and they are making some transactions to their vendors, right, on the platform and everything. So they're able to study that pattern and use it to what? To be able to what? Give these petty traders some kind of credit rating, okay? And with that credit rating, it can help them so to afford certain things on what? On credit. So they've come up with this what we call pay small small, so that with that pay small small, because their platform is also linked to payment of electricity in Ghana here, they're able to use that to help people to pay instead of paying, I'll say, let's say your rent upfront, okay, because you have built that strong credit word history on their platform, they're able to help you to be able to pay what like a smaller what advance. So I believe we'll all be happy, right, in years to come when we wouldn't have to get 2 years of rent advance to go and pay a whole 2 years to go and pay for rent. I believe rent also a headache to a lot of what a lot of people. But when you see in foreign countries, because you people have their credit history and rating. That's why they're able to pay for their rent what monthly. They are able to get a mortgage and everything. Okay, and pay it what later in that's in because they know your profile and they know your ability to what pay back or what or not, because there are that downside what a lot of banks struggle with this non-performing what loans, okay, because somebody will go for the loan and the person run away, the person will not finish paying and they'll run away, and um they may not be able to really track them and what and reclaim what that money. Okay. So AI in credit what scoring has helped to bridge all these what gaps. And it helps to pull data from different what sources and expand that lending market and reduce like the non-performing loans like I talked about, because sometimes when people take loans, one colleague was saying their company that where they are, the company usually will front the loan so that people will take it. And sometimes some of them don't take the loan, the money and jackpot. They are gone cry. So you will not be able to trace them to what to pay back. and it's a huge word headache. So they said the company has stopped doing that. Okay. But if they knew their credit history, they observed over time, they could do some prediction. Maybe not predict the jackpot or something, but at least they'll predict whether they'll pay back in full or not. Okay. So that's AI in what? Credit what? Scoring. Now, when it comes to investment and trading, it's also very, it features a lot. I use my dad's word as an example. A lot of people want to invest, but they may not even know where to invest in, what to do, and everything. And now, in the age of Bitcoin and people trying to invest in all of that. So these AI platforms, driven platform, they analyze the market data, though they could execute trades on your behalf. Like let's say, if within seconds, let's say these popular tech firms like Nvidia and everything, OpenAI, their shares are going up. You can easily what buy them quickly, right? Optimize your portfolios with minimal human what input. So you don't have to have a lot of human what authorization before you subscribe to any investment what policy. Okay. And it does a lot of reinforcement in terms of the learning models, the price feeds, sentiment data, and identifying high probability trade signals can determine that this area is area that I should. Because I saw someone using, I've forgotten the name, using the person uses analyzing trends on TikTok, right? People what people talk about, and was able to predict that Crocs you should invest buy Crocs shares because based on what people's what behavior pattern, what people are talking about on TikTok, be able to what use it to say that okay, Crocs value would what increase, so then I put my money there, and that is all AI. You can use AI to pull all from all these sources, right? So that you make that what investment decision. Okay, and an example is RiseVest and Bamboo, which leverages AI platforms for investments, what recommendation, and it helps to democratize access to wealth management so that you will not always be looking at one area. There are so many other areas, avenues you can what you can invest in. It reduce advisory cost, right? That you have to consult a person, okay, and improves your what your portfolio what returns, right, in the long term. Okay, now AI in accounting automation. So accounting automating is also an area that AI has featured in very, very much with automated bookkeeping, reconciliation, invoice processing, financial reporting, and eliminating this manual what entry. So accounting tool is an area in finance that AI has really what helped in. Okay. It helps to they are able to extract data from invoices, categorize the transactions, and handle these repetitive workflows end to what? End to end. And this can be seen in Kepa and Okra SME what accounting. Most of these startups may not be fully fledged to employ an experienced accountant to help with their books, but they can use AI to help with some of these things. And it has helped them to do a lot of what cost cutting, right? Then when it comes to risk management, so if we have any questions, we can always drop them in the chat. If you have any questions, you can always drop them in the chat, and I'll answer them. So any questions or suggestions, you can always drop them in the chat. Okay. AI in risk management. So risk management tool is what an area that AI is helping to what to transform from reactive to what predictive, because you don't want to wait. The thing will happen before you are now trying to scramble to help someone. But no, but you'll be able to predict that okay, based on what is happening, this is what is likely to what to happen. So predictive model that assess credit, operational market compliance risk across what the institution so that it can what predict as much as possible. Okay. I know one one fintech who was fined by CBN per regulatory what compliance that their product was not complying with their license, the license that they were given. And some of these things, they are like honest mistakes, okay, that ideally you may not be able to predict it, right? Maybe they would have talked to lawyers, they would have talked to compliance, maybe they would have said, oh, everything is fine, But AI could have been able to flag that no, there's what a likely what compliance risk in here because this is the license you have and you may not be approved to what to do this, right? Maybe you're a fintech and you have license to, and it happens a lot of the time. Some of the fintechs, maybe because some of them are so foreign, they feel like, oh, you can easily do cross-border payment, but you may not have the license to do that. So immediately you start doing that, the regulator will start coming for you. Okay, the regulator will start what? Coming for you. And these are some of what that around the areas. So I'll have a quick question for us. I'll drop in the chat soon. So the question is, if an AI algorithm denies a loan to a customer based on alternative data like your social media or Momo usage, who is legally liable? Is it the bank? Is it the software developer? Or is it the auditor? So I'll drop that in the chat. I'll drop that in the chat for us to also share our views on. I'll drop that in the chat to share our views on. I'll drop that in the chat to share our views on. So I've dropped it in the chat now. If an AI algorithm denies a loan to a customer on alternative data, so this is someone like a normal trader, right, who wants a loan, okay, and they use other, like you said, this AI credit what scoring. They use other alternative data like your social media or your Momo usage, right? Your transaction history within your Momo. And the algorithm just denies the loan to the customer. Who is legally liable per Nigerian context? Is it the bank? Is it the software developer or the what? The auditor? Who do you think is to blame in this case? So put in the chat room if you think it's the bank, put bank. If you think it's the developer, put developer. If you think it's the auditor, put auditor. So this one I want to hear from everyone. I want to hear from everyone on the call. So I want to hear from Dorcas. I want to hear from Isaac. I want to hear from Kayode, from Olajide, from John. I think Rick has dropped off. Then there's Lavita Group. I don't know who that is, but I would like to hear from every one of us. Let's all go to the chat and put who is liable. Let's go to the chat. Let's go to the chat. Let's go to the chat. Who is liable? Who is liable? Let's go to the chat. I want to hear from all of us. Are we typing? Are we typing? Quickly, we have just a minute or two to do this. We have just a minute or two to do this quickly. So let's start dropping our answers in the chat. Bank software developer, which is which? Bank software developer. Bank software developer. If an algorithm denies the person loan, do you think it's the fault of the bank, the auditor? Okay. Friday is saying auditor. Why auditor? Now auditor they what has person than that bank will be the ultimate. Isaac is saying the bank. So if you are saying auditor, why auditor? If you are saying bank, why bank? If you are saying bank, why bank? Who should we so who should we beat? Who should we lash? Who should we lash in this case? Who should we lash in this case? So Kennedy, why auditor? Isaac, why the bank? I would like to hear from Dorcas, from Olajide. I would like to hear from everyone, from John, from everyone. Quickly. So, why the bank? Why the auditor? Let's hear from you. Those who haven't spoken, some Some of us haven't spoken. Let's hear from you. Let's hear from you.
Okay, so Isaac.
Okay, please go
Yeah,
ahead.
so I suggested a bank because um to a system, for example, a president and his cabinet, if a system is not working, the normal citizen will blame the president. So putting this example to play, the bank and the customers, if anything happens, the person will mention the bank. Notwithstanding that the software developers and the auditors, in terms of management, probably they are at a level that the bank is the ultimate that see to the strategic movement or the flow of whatever is happening. So I would suggest that the customer will blame the bank, or well, the bank will be more liable because it's or he or she is a big motherboard as the others work within. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you from that perspective. I'd like to hear from one more person, then we can move on. Quickly, let's do this quickly in the next 1 minute. Let's do this quickly. So Isaac has
All right, I think there's
defended.
the software auditor should be held liable because you have been able to know which areas the data should be picked from and query the software in the process of development so that it doesn't take data from alternative data will cause issues for people who are losing to access loans. So I think the auditor should be held liable for not auditing the software developed properly in order to be able to see which aspect data can be collected from for loans to be disbursed to customers.
Okay, so yes, I like your perspective. So the auditor didn't do a lot of due diligence, right? A lot of due diligence. I like that perspective as well. No one is blaming the developer. Anyone blaming the developer or the developer goes scot-free. Like maybe I'm here to develop. You can't come and blame me. Anyone here blaming the developer or anyone here? Or you think it's just the bank and the auditor that are people that we need to blame? The developer, they just came to develop and go. Just came to write code. Okay, but those are food for thoughts, things we can think on. So I mean, we can always drop your comments in the chat, so we don't take much time. So that's it, AI and what risk management. Now let's look at in terms of the whole Nigerian market, AI in action when it comes to what the Nigerian what finance. So this is putting everything together. So we said what a traditional bank, what they use AI for, they will usually use it for credit scoring, fraud detection, customer service chatbot. The fintechs will do more of what lending, payments, and risk what infrastructure. Then we have the POS and the payments. They will use it more to monitor the agents what networks. They will use it to also detect fraud and optimize what liquidity across what Nigeria. So far, these are the use cases for AI within the sector. These are the use cases for AI within what the sector. So what do we think? So in terms of AI in the Nigerian finance industry, so the new AI bill classifies many financial services as high risk. Do you think the current infrastructure is ready for the mandatory impact assessment, or is going to slow down fintech innovation? So I know there's an upcoming AI regulation in Nigeria, and they are looking at flagging financial services as what high risk. So and asking for mandatory what impact assessment, right? Do you think it's going to slow down innovation because people feel, oh, when you come up with so many regulations, it will slow down what innovation, or it's also a way to put guardrails in place, security in place, right? Because if something goes wrong, then they will blame this whole, like I said, we'll blame the president, right? Everything we're going to blame the president, right? Fine. In the end, he's ultimately liable and everything. So, well, it is just what a food for thoughts for us. Okay, so we'll move on. Okay, now AI, financial AI workflow, usually it starts from what data collection, then goes to what the processing, right? Then the insights, right, comes the risk score, the fraud alert, forecast. Then based on the insight, that's when the action comes. The decisions are what are taken through what reports, through what filings, and what have you. Okay, the benefits of AI in finance, I think we've talked about it, right? The value proposition. Efficiency is one. Removes what? Repetition. Okay. Accuracy. It removes a lot of what? Human what? Error. Then cost reduction, right? Cost reduction. Then revenue growth in the long term helps to what? In revenue what? Growth. Okay. So these are some of the benefits. However, there are some challenges. I mean, it's not always benefits that we reap. There are some challenges when it comes to what AI in financial systems. First of all, the data what quality. The data quality. It's an area, right? It's an area. Sometimes, in as much as we use these global tools and everything, sometimes we should ask ourselves as Africans, the data they are using to train this model, have they really put into context, like our African context, okay, in terms of how we spend money, in terms of the things we spend on. Okay, I remember when Uber Uber was one of like the first ride hailing apps to launch in Ghana. And when they started, in Uber is an American company, and that place they use a lot of what debit cards, right? So as you are registering, you just register with your debit card. So you won't pay cash, they'll just deduct from what your account as source, and that's what we're trying to do. And the realized that people were not using it. So clearly they didn't study the market what well. And when they reverted to the cash, they realized that cash not there, because we use cash a lot, right? We use what? Cash a lot. So data quality and also regulatory compliance too. CBN, NDPR, these are our areas. The talent gap is also an area that is a challenge because we don't have a lot of experts in AI. Most of the experts are usually foreigners who rather come and train us. So this is an area, right? Then in terms of infrastructure too, cloud costs, the power reliability. Look at the instability of electricity we already have. So imagine you are going to add AI on top. It's a whole, it's a different ball game altogether because AI relies on a lot of stable electricity. So the question we need to ask ourselves is, are we really ready? Are we really ready for what? For that? Okay. So this is what AI in finance. So we've looked at one aspect of today's session, right? AI in finance. Now the remaining part of the session will focus more on AI in legal research. I don't know if we have our legal people. I don't know whether we have our legal people here, but do we have them here? Do you have any legal person or anyone working in the law firm here? Or we are all okay. Whether we have it or not, I believe this is something that we may use legal service one way or the other. So having knowledge about it will still help us, right? So AI helps in a lot of legal research. Okay. Do a lot of research. Okay. So there's tools to scan for laws, regulatory commentary in seconds or milliseconds. I like the milliseconds part, man, because it's like very fast, milliseconds or even nanoseconds, very, very fast. And that's what we then in contrast with analysis is also an area, right? To clause extraction identifies terminations, indemnity, liability clauses instantly, right? Especially when, let's say, there's a lawsuit, right? Let's say an employee is suing the organization. They have to go back to the contract, right? Or someone and a different organization is suing your organization, right? Or you want to sue an organization. You have to what? Go back to the contract you signed with the person and see what was in it. Then you can use that to what? Build what? Your case, right? So you need to look at all the clauses in there. So AI can help you to extract clauses related to the lawsuit, which will help what? Build up what? Your argument in court, right? Then the risk scoring flags unfavorable terms. So let's say you are also going to enter into a contract with a vendor. They send you their what? They send you the contract, and you come and help read it. You want to also flag certain what? Unfavorable terms, right? On the get-go with what? With AI. And it helps to do that in what? In seconds. Then AI in document what? Automation. There's also another. So to generate documents. Now there's Gamma AI. In fact, there are so many. If you want to prepare any PowerPoint slides, easily. If you want to prepare any legal documents from scratch, easily. So like NDAs, there are templates there. NDAs, engagement letters, court filings. You just have to populate it with the client data and change one or two things. If you wanted to suit maybe Nigeria, a particular country to you, can what set that. So generate agreements in under minutes. And it eliminates a lot of manual data entry there's and errors. Then it's what consistent, right? With templates and clauses. So AI helps a lot in what document automation. Also AI in case prediction, right? Case prediction. So from the input, the case data, the case facts, the jurisdiction, the judge history, right? Then after the input, the AI analysis, that's the processing in terms of pattern matching, precedent comparison, statistical modeling, then the results, the output, your probability of maybe you winning the case, recommended strategy, and settlement was range, like what should be the amount. So AI can help in what judge behavior analysis. Okay, so there was this argument on LinkedIn, right? That we were talking about privacy, okay? That now there's privacy and some lawyers, now there are lots of lawsuits, privacy lawsuits and everything. And the cybersecurity like professionals in quotes are saying, oh, these lawyers they don't know, they know the law, but they may not know how, let's say, a cookie works, like how the IT parts work to be able to truly determine whether privacy have been breached and all of that. And right, AI can help to do that and all of that. And someone was like, AI can do all the work, but AI doesn't know the judge. And it was like a really funny, it sounds like it was a really funny comment from like the surface, right? But if you really think about it, it's also true, right? But AI can help with some kind of judge behavior with analysis. You can be able to study the patterns of rulings of this judge. Say, hey, this judge, this is how they've been ruling for this number of what years. So then this judge, if if we bring this, if he's the one or she's the one handling this case, this is the likelihood judgment they might pass, right? Settlement benchmarking compares your case to similar resolved world cases, and also risk assessment quantifies probability of success before what filing. But there's a question I want to ask us, like in terms of case prediction. Do you think in our Nigerian or Ghanaian or African context, AI generated legal advice, will it ever be competent enough for a courtroom, or we should just use it for the research? Do you think it will carry a lot of weight if AI just generated legal advice? I know some people, ChatGPT, they can go and type, um, maybe I'm trying to enter into this contract with this. They do a little description. So give me advice. What do I do? right? And the prompt gives some decision, make some decisions, or presents the person with different ways on how to tackle it. Do you think it will ever be something that is competent enough if you take it to the courts? Okay. It's a food for thought for us to look at. Okay, then in terms of compliance with monitoring, AI really helps with that. So real-time alerts, policy gap detection, then audit trails. So if there are any new regulation, it will just alert you and to scan your policies to see if there are any gaps, then automatically logs that will help shape your compliance activity for regulatory reports, especially those of us in the finance industry. Okay, so that's for compliance with monitoring. So in terms of AI in the legal practice, right? What are some of the ways in which it's being used in Nigeria? So large law firms, they do a lot of use for a lot of due diligence, M&A review, high volume contract work, right? So that you can serve a lot of multinational clients faster. Okay. Corporate legal terms, let's say like regulation, company regulations and all of that, or partnership agreements. These are things that can be done. Then mid-side and boutique firms, the smaller ones, they use it more of automating routine work. So lawyers focus on high value advice to their routine research here and there, and all of the documentation here and there. Then that is what that is done. Okay. So now as we've looked at, let's look at the workflow in terms of the legal. If you are going to use AI within your industry, right? So the matter intake, it does research and analysis, then it does what we call drafting. After the drafting, then there's review, then there's delivery and compliance. But however, each stage needs a human person to review, right? Because I mean we are not there yet where AI can do everything from scratch. Okay. And why AI transform legal practice? These are the numbers, right? We looked at the numbers when we talked about the finance industry. So faster research, 70%, because the legal profession is a lot of documentation and research, a lot. Contract speed, 3 times, cost savings, and compliance monitoring 24/7, so that you don't miss anything. You don't miss any regulation you need to comply with. Okay. And any deadlines. Let's say you're supposed to file certain things to your regulators within a particular deadline, and it will help to help you meet those compliance thresholds. Then what AI cannot do yet, right? I know there's this argument AI replace us, as people have answered it in different ways, right? But AI has certain limitations. Okay. AI has certain limitations. So what AI cannot do yet is powerful and all of that, but there are lots of hallucinations, can generate incorrect citations. So always verify, or incorrect information. Okay, sometimes the same prompts you can put it into they say you can put it in Claude, can put it in ChatGPT, can put it in Gemini. They'll all give you different results. So you'll be wondering, which is which, okay? Then limited Nigerian data. Okay, like you said, most of these tools are built with data from From the West. So you will not see a lot from Africa, right? Then confidentiality risk, uploading information to AI, because before AI can help you make some decision, you need to give them some information, and sometimes it's confidential information that you'll be handing out, especially when it comes to the legal parts. Because before AI can review your contract, they will have to have access to that contract. And if it is not that AI is not within your domain, who is the information? Who else is seeing that information? Okay, so these are risk, confidentiality risk, and data protection concerns. Okay, the no legal accountability, right? even though the lawyer remains what responsible. I mean, what is really the legal? Are you going to blame the AI or not? So these are certain limitations because in as much as we are using AI, these are certain limitations we need to be looking at for. So that's why the winning strategy or the winning formula is what human and what AI. Human and AI. So AI can handle the research, the drafting, the data extraction, compliance monitoring, document review, deadline tracking. But the lawyers should handle the strategy, the client's counsel, the courtroom advocacy, ethical judgment, negotiation, and final word approval. And together, what it's more what effective. It will augment what the lawyers, right? Instead of just pushing it to one aspect. Okay, so there should always be that human what? Human oversight, right? Human oversight. Okay. Okay. Now, how can businesses start using AI in finance and what and legal, right? First of all, you have to what define a problem. What problem are you faced with? Okay, like we're using the wrong transaction refunds as an example, right? Make a wrong transaction, how long it takes. If that's your problem, right? Okay, I want to be able to reduce to this time. There's a problem. Or whether it's for detection or contract review, you have to define it first, right? Then evaluate what? Vendor compliance, the tools with what? CBN guidelines, NDPR requirements, and all of that. You need to do that because if it doesn't fall within that, you may risk what? Compliance with fines. Okay. Then start with the pilot. Start small. Don't do a full blown at once. Start in a particular area, then you scale. Then you plan for what integration with other what tools. Okay. And for integration, other tools. And in all of this, you need to do thorough what risk assessment. Like we said, look at the risk on both ends and see how your tolerance level as an organization to meet those risks before you go into what to do your deployment. Then you also look at what the cost, right? Because AI tool is very, very expensive. I mean, it's in as much as it can do a lot. At the same time, even though you may be cutting off certain jobs, certain hands, you may inadvertently be putting it into what the AI, right? I remember one institution, one regulator, they felt like we are spending our IT budget is too much. They feel like our IT budget is too much. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Right. So maybe they felt that there was some people were doing some things, what illegal things, right? But people fail to acknowledge that in as much as you are using tools, okay, maybe you are cutting back on certain manual things, you are using tools. The money may indirectly move into what the tools. So in as much as, oh, we say AI, we are going to use AI, right? You will use money to buy what the AI. So you may what fire some people, okay, so that you can save on that, but you'll be indirectly be pushing this into AI. So you need to consider all of that, the cost versus the value of the system before you actually what go ahead. So these are some mistakes to also watch out for. Common mistakes businesses would make, right? First of all, something that you need to look at. Then ignoring the data quality, yes. Ignoring the data quality. So your staff also need to be well trained, well equipped to be able to deploy the system, be able to even use the system, right? Then overlooking regulatory compliance is also another area. So your tools should be aligned with NDPR, CBN, SEC requirements if your the organization is on the stock exchange, you need to make sure you are meeting all these what requirements, right? Meeting all these what requirements. Okay, so now the decision framework when it comes to AI decision making flow, right? You need to what? Identify the problem, you need to assess the data, then deploy and monitor. Then no, identify the problem, assess the data, pilot the tool before what you deploy and what and you monitor so that you'll be able to what constantly check if it's meeting, it's solving your problem, right, for you, right? Then when it comes to risk management, data privacy risk in AI, this is also an area of huge what concern. So this I also have a short question for us that I'll put in the chat. So the key risks are unauthorized data access, NDPR non-compliance, and cross-border data what transfer. These are all areas that we need to what we need to look at. These are all areas of what of major concern that we need to what to look at. So when it comes to data privacy, it's a huge what area. It's a huge area of risk. So I'm asking as I'm putting it in the chat now that let's say an AI tool used by a law firm accidentally leaks client data during a breach under NDPR. Who is the data controller? Is it the law firm or the AI provider? So this we are is boiling down again to who is like ultimately like liable, right? So I have a quick question for us. Let's use the next minute to present our answers. So you can put either law firm or AI provider. Law firm or AI provider. So who is held liable? So the AI tool used by a law firm accidentally leaks the client data doing what a breach under NDPR. So the clients or the personal information that is out there. Who is the data controller? Is it the law firm or and I believe we understand data controller in this sense. Is it the law firm or is the what AI provider? Quickly, let's go into the chat room. Quickly, let's go into the chat room. So per NDPR regulations, is it the law firm or the AI provider? Okay, some people have dropped off. Mm, So let's hear from you. From John, Lajide, Kayode, Isaac. Let's hear from you. Let's hear from you, John. Who is ultimately held liable? Okay. Who is ultimately held liable? The law firm there. Wow, we have the law. Isaac is saying the law firm. Kayode is saying the AI provider. Kayode, why the AI provider?
Apparently, because there was a breach now, and the AI is actually supposed to do all protection, make sure that the data is well protected, and so apparently, I think the AI is very responsible because it's supposed to be
Yeah.
responsible for protecting the data. So that's
Oh.
where I see it.
Oh, okay. Isaac, you are saying the law firm. Why the law firm?
Please, I'm sorry. Okay, so this is my analysis. I'm saying the law firm because I don't know whether the AI provider is a machine, and the law firm could be an institution where it's managed by people. So it's the people who prompt these AI providers based on the instruction they give it, and it provides the responses. So whatever happens is the firm, the human institution that is responsible for data protection.
Oh, okay. So I understand where both of you like the arguments, and you are all right. Yes. In the end, they are all liable. But putting it in more context. So let's say the law firm is a Nigerian law firm, right? Operating in Nigeria. So they are bound by NDPR. Okay. So in this case, NDPR will count for the law firm because they are supposed to make sure everything is what their client data, everything is what is safe. Okay. But let's say the AI provider is, let's say, an organization that operates somewhere, a different part of the world, right? They may be liable to their own laws, right? Nigeria, NDPR may not have jurisdiction if they are out of Nigeria, right? So what they'll do is rather what hold the law firm what liable, right? And then now the law firm can now take the AI provider what on that yes, you are it's because of your platform that it has resulted in what in this. So there are different legs what to it depending on what the situation. Okay, there are different legs, but I mean we are all right. Listen, but if the issue is the AI provider, let's say the AI provider and the law firm, let's say they are all Nigerian companies, they are all based in Nigeria. Then they will both be NDPR will count for both of them, or the NDPA. Okay, the NDPA will count for what the authority will count for what both of them because ideally an AI firm would have to what have data protection what certification or compliance should be able to have it's expected to have data protection what compliance. At the same time, the law firm, I mean, you will also be expected to have data protection compliance. So ideally will count for both of them. But if it's different country, that's when this whole jurisdiction, I mean, comes into play. Okay, so I believe we are all right in that word, in that sense. We are all right in that sense. Okay, so thank you. Good job for your contribution. So that's it for data privacy risk. Now let's move on to ethical concerns when it comes to ethics. This is an area we've talked about so many times in terms of what bias, the data, the training data, a lot of bias in credit scoring, in hiring, right? Because the thing is, the truth of the matter is already our current practices are biased. Okay. We have certain biases towards, let's say, if you're hiring somebody, you are biased towards hiring particular people with particular certification, particular this, particular that. So if you input that same data into the AI, the AI will follow that one, that pattern, right? So these are concerns and lack of transparency when it comes to AI. So when you're explaining to regulators, especially that they our clients, sometimes it's a whole ball, it's a different ballgame altogether, right? And accountability gaps, like the way we're talking about this client data, which has been what breached. When AI makes an error in a legal contract or financial report, who is liable? Right? In the end, it should be tied to the human being because you should have it at the back of your mind that AI is not perfect. So you should have some little human oversight. But somebody too may ask that, I mean, then what's the point of the AI? If I have to always be checking everything the AI is doing, then I might as well do everything myself, kind of, right? But at least the AI would help make certain things what faster so that you have to do a lot of what reviews, okay? Then job displacement, what fears is also an area. Job displacement, what fears is also an area, right? Now, the danger of over-reliance on AI, and I have seen this word firsthand. A lot of people are of the view that AI is making people lazy. And I saw this firsthand. Sometimes something that the person should be able to at least use their mind more. Like this one they use this one they use their mind small. Then every little to ChatGPT, every little to ChatGPT. Every little in ChatGPT. Every little chat. So it's like the person not able to exercise that, like, let me try to use my mind more. And that's it. Okay, so AI is a tool, not what? A replacement. AI is a tool. So always review the output. Keep your expertise what? Sharp. Don't just depend and set some boundaries, right? Define which decisions require human sign-off before deploying to the AI system, right? So that human oversight is very, very what? Essential. It's very what? Essential. We shouldn't just delegate everything to AI and just fold our arms. No, in the end, like this, people who do most of this vibe coding, you do vibe coding and you spend 10 years to debug. And you realize that in the end, I should have just done hard coding because that would have saved me all this time in debugging, right? That's for the developers, anyways. But I mean, that's it because if the AI comes up with a faulty contract and you just send it over, that's really a big blow to what the reputation of yourself and your organization. Okay. So I'll say we are technically wrapping up. So what are some of the concepts that we've looked at in this session, talking about AI in finance and legal? So like we said, start with a clear use word case. What problem? Identify a specific problem, right? Then next is prioritize the data quality or compliance. Then also balance cost with measurable value. Yes, because AI is expensive. Even normal software, look at how it's expensive. Then now with AI, you should know that it's expensive. So really, you are supposed to be really sure of the kind of what value you are getting. Okay. Then maintain that human what? Oversight. Maintain that human oversight. Maintain that human what? Oversight. Maintain that human oversight. Okay. So we have some practical steps for us. So some practical steps will be first, audit your current finance or legal workflows. Yes. Identify one or two high impact AI use cases. So it doesn't mean AI is there, so you use AI for everything. No. There are some areas that is very high impact. So let's say for a finance institution, maybe loan processing, right, is high impact for you. Fraud detection is high impact for you. So you can use AI for these two. You don't have to use AI in every single area, but look at areas that if there are issues, it can greatly affect your operations. Then you go for those ones. Okay. If you're a legal firm, you have a lot of clients, and you have to do, let's say, it's that time of the year that you have to do a lot of contract review. That means high impact. AI will help you, right? Evaluate the NDPR compliant vendors. Okay. Then run a 60-day pilot with clear KPIs. Okay. These are practical what steps. Then we have some discussion questions that are also put for us to also talk about, and we'll use that to end the class. Beyond that, I know we have some assignment that we have to submit. But before we go to the assignments, let's look at these discussion questions. What finance process in your organization is ready for AI? What do you think? What finance process? So no matter your organization, there's always the finance what aspect. So which one do you think is ready for AI? Then how would you handle AI bias in credit decisions? Okay, then what NDPR obligations apply to your AI tool? So I'll put that in the chat as well. And as we will respond and wrap it all up. We'll respond and wrap it all up. We'll wrap up the session with these discussion questions. We'll wrap up the session with these discussion. Wrap up. So I've put it in the chat. So let's quickly we'll use the next 3 to 5 minutes. Look at you use the next 3 to 5 minutes to answer these 3 questions. So what finance process in your organization is ready for AI? How would you handle AI bias in credit decisions? And what NDPR obligations apply to your AI tools? So let's hear from us. Let's hear from us. Let's hear from us. Let's hear from us. John, I heard from you once, so I didn't hear from you again. So let's hear from every one of us, everyone. So let's hear from John. Let's hear from Olajide, Lavita Group, Kayode, Isaac. Let's hear from all of us. These are three discussion questions to end this session. To end this session. And I believe our session coordinator will talk about the assignment and the submission, right? But let's use the next 3 minutes to answer these discussion questions. Let's use the next 3 minutes. So time starts now. Let's start dropping our answers in the chat. Or if you want to unmute yourself and speak to, you are free to do so. Okay, I've not seen anyone typing yet. Please, let's type. Let's type quickly. Okay, so I want to hear from you, Isaac. I want to hear from you, Kayode, from John, from Dorcas. Is it Dorcas? Mm.
Yeah, hello.
Hi, Isaac.
Yes, so to answer, sorry, to answer the questions, I think what financial process in your organization is ready for AI? Well, so I'm in the academia in school. So
Okay.
normally with the students, we use it to solve problems in terms of assignment and trying to help us study or understand certain concept better. So in that space of organization, that's what I use.
Oh, okay. So
Yes,
you are a student. That's what they're
yes,
saying, or you're a
yes.
lecturer.
No, I'm a
Yes.
student.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So more like to do your assignment, you just
Yes.
drop it into AI and you go and part.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. So then the second one, how would you handle AI bias in credit decision? So to
Mm,
me, I feel that AI is prone to error. AI is not the ultimate. So when
mm,
AI brings in some prompts, we have to, we the human have to do a double cross check and not to fully rely on it 100%. For sometimes
mm,
the chat or the tools will tell you that we should verify whatever prompt or information it feeds at or we
yeah.
get because it's not 100% true. Then what of the NDRPR obligation? So with this one, I got to know it here in this class, more or less of data security and protection.
Yeah, essentially data protection, but more like Nigerian context. I know in Ghana it's Data Protection Act, but so it's data
Okay.
protection. Yeah.
Protection. Oh, okay. Okay. So the obligation, what then? Okay. Yeah. So more or less, I think for data protection and security, making sure that our data, whatever we feed in, or uh, yeah, whatever we feed in, our data are being protected and not exposed to the external environment.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Isaac. Thank you, Isaac, for that. Thank you, Isaac. I'll take one more before I hand over to our coordinator, our session coordinator. So you can
Thank you
unmute
so
yourself
much.
and speak. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. And please, a round of applause to her if there is no other questions. A round of applause. Thank you so much for such expository session. I really enjoyed your class. Thank you. Thank you, Isaac. Thank you for everyone who have stood by from the beginning of the class up until now. If the class will never hold if you were not there. So thank you, Isaac. Thank you, Kayode. Thank you, Lavita. Thank you, Olajide. Thank you, John. It was nice having you all in class. So just a very quick announcement before we call it a day. If you are yet to fill up your attendance, please go ahead and do so. And then also there is a feedback link in the chat room. Please, we need your feedback regarding today's class. We want to know how the class was and how to improve on our service delivery, right? Please, once you are done doing that, please let's see you type in the chat room done. So while that is ongoing, I also want to remind everyone on the call that the registration fee for this program is 10,000 Naira only. 10,000 Naira only. So please do well to make your registration fee. Secondly, is also to make you know that at the end of this program, you'll be getting your certificate, and that costs 40,000 Naira only. So I just want you all to have that at the back of your mind that you'll be paying for your certificate. All right. Thank you so much. And then the material and the recording of today's class